26 at 9:16 p.m. We'll make it fast and quick today. We finished basically red all day flat here, and let's get into why. We were bar coding for what? Nvidia earnings that did what? It apparently beat really big. Let's get into what happened with Nvidia call. So the first thing you have to realize when you're playing earnings is it's literally a gamble. We don't know what the company's going to say. We obviously can see that Nvidia in the past, like everybody else was saying, well, they beat, they raise, they do this, they do that, and what happens? They go down, right? So most of your earnings here, you trade flat here. Okay, you have the same pattern here again, and you do the same thing again and again and again. Well, guess what? For the first time since looks like May 25th of 2025, their last earnings call from last year, around a little bit after this time, they gapped up. No different from today. Why? Their revenue beat, their adjusted EPS, gross margins, revenue, and they closed here at 209, and they are now up here after hours at 221.26 here. The applied move here says 5, but we, if you mentioned here or listened rather on stream, that the move is really 7% here. So again, the best thing you can do here if you're ever going to play earnings is pick the correct strike here if you're going to play earnings, because if you play like on a Friday or like a Monday or something and you're very, very far out the money, getting that implied move here, you stand to gain not only a lot less, but also those just going worthless here. So again, if Nvidia kind of comes up here to 3%, at least some of these contracts will get some IV here. Obviously, if it's 1% or obviously negative here, both will be crushed, which is IV crushed for earnings. But again, if I pick a contract here, we go up, I pick 220s, and let's say we're here at 217 here, these will print. The ones that you pick like that are lotteries, like actual lotteries, like a 250, they're not going to print here. And that's also number one mistake that traders make here. So again, having a levels marked out here for a $15 implied move could have helped you, if you watched my previous videos, pick a correct strike here to have a decent sized chance of being profitable. Kind of the takeaway here from Nvidia was it did have their GAAP EPS carries about $7.7 billion of equity gains, which I just find kind of odd and interesting that they're counting that as equity stake gains, but whatever. We'll get into CRM here in a bit of what happened there as well. But both line is, if you also just go over CRM here as well, they beat everything and they raise. So CRM is kind of like a tinfoil hat type of deal here. It's just, again, they had a really lucrative, Anthropic deal here, which is counting towards their earnings. There's some conflicting information out there. It is, but it isn't. And, but anyways, right, Salesforce is just basically a platform that utilizes and works with large enterprises to, in my opinion, in a nutshell, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, help with, customer acquisition, lead management, and kind of so forth. Organizing data, stuff like that. Going over here to the NASDAQ, what happened here? So we have our clear put wall here. So our next support is right here. And visually looking at the chart, a lot of people make the mistake if they want to get involved like right here. So I'm going to color these lines in here. They want to get involved right here. Don't get involved there. Wait for your pivots. Make sure to mark your levels here. I have an anchored VWAP. I drop my fibs here from the top to the bottom here. We have our previous day close or previous day open and a previous day low here, all marked here. And I think this is very important to have when you're going long in or short on stock here. When I go ahead and clean this chart off here, right, we can visually see here, right, what is a really good zone to get involved in here from the NASDAQ perspective. And I'll give you the examples for QQQ here in a second, right here. So everyone's trying to get involved right here, kind of in the middle of a level here when you're under your previous day open. Well, if we're under a previous day open, right, what does that mean? We're trending down. What does net selling look like? This. What does net buying look like? This. We always use our 55 EMA line here to kind of give us clues here to whether we should get involved in a stock or if we should just pump the brakes here. We did see that rate of change shift here. We do see this curling up just a bit here, and you can kind of see it corroborated by here. If you want my indicators, just ask me. Comment HVT in the comment section about this rate of change indicator. And remember to like, share, and subscribe. Really helps me against the algorithm. The rate of change here is kind of visually showing me if it's ticking up or down, where earlier, guys, it was ticking up, okay? Going over here to a different time frame, because we don't just use one time frame. We have the monthly time frame here. Again, we just have a control bar, right, marked by here and marked by here. So control bar is doing what? It's controlling price, and typically it's categorized by inside bar or high or low here. So what could happen here is, right, you can form a bullish pennant. Candles get so tight. What does a bullish pennant look like, right? You have candles just get so tight, so tight, so tight, so tight. Then, right, you break up or you break down here again, which is why it's important to have your levels here. So, right, it looks like you're forming a bullish pennant, and guess of what? An evening star that was categorized by a bearish engulfing very strong velocity type move here candle, and we did reject our 50% line initially, but we are back above here from a Fibonacci perspective here. Again, just using some structure here, this is what we gather here from a monthly time frame here. Looking at the weekly time frame here, same deal, guys. Again, you know, we have a Dragonfly Doji borderline. We are, after Nvidia earnings, starting to catch a bit here in the market. We did have a Morningstar breakout here that did get mid-tempoed, so this is concerning here, right? When I see an engulfing candle here, right, if we're going to break this level to the upside and actually have a chance to break up to the 30,000, what I'm looking for is not really choppy candles, like low conviction here. I'm looking for like a strong engulfing candle here. So my next level to the upside right here, again for NQ, is 30,549. Put wall is right here at 28,873, and then your flush zone is right down here. Using transitioning over here to QQQ from the daily perspective, again, we have that 55 EMA support here, and we saw a clear reversal here. This initially was a bearish engulfing candle, which was what? A part of an evening star here. You can kind of see it here. You have your candle down here. You have your doji here, which is indecision, right? And then you were starting to form a bearish engulfing candle that, you know, got reversed here. So again, we're above our previous close, we're above our previous open here, and those are all the signs and clues I want to have when I'm going long here in a stock. Currently in after hours, you are up about 0.83% here, and one of those levels that I think is really liquid is right around here at 721 here. So again, you know, when I'm heading to open, some of the things I like to do, right, are drop to the 1 minute time frame when we're at open. And some of the simplest concepts here are, I like to mark up my charts here. If this is where we opened at and we're going down here, I'm not going long. We are trending down. There's no reason to go long. You can always tell, right, when you break your levels here, like, right, your previous day high, bullish, okay? Now you're trending in the right direction, right? Because you want to set a higher high from the previous day close or the previous day high, okay? If we're going down, right, we're not. We're going to make what? A lower low, possibly, and close lower. Checking a different time frame here again, my levels to the upside here for QQQ tomorrow are 720. So the unfortunate part is sometimes overnight you do have those expected moves that already happened. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can find some different levels here in real time. I'm going to go ahead and clean up the chart here. Let's mark it top to the bottom. Where can my next levels be here? You are barcoding here after hours kind of here. I mean, you had an extreme move here and now we're just kind of rejecting that, of course. So again, one of my concepts here is, right, you know, are we going to remain above this bullish engulfing candle or below it here, above this candle here, which took out a large portion of the move here? This to me would be like a voluptuous move, voluptuous to me, or excuse me, voluptuous. Somebody correct me, I don't know. Voluptuous move to me, right, looks like this, right? So how long did it take this to go down? So it took us about 6 days, right, for this range here, right? So that's why a lot of people get smoked here, right? When you're chopping, you end up with dojis that we just talked about here on the QQQs here. The doji is what? Right here, you can kind of see it. We're going to clean up the chart again for you to see. Go ahead, just look at QQQ real quick. What do you have right here? You have a what? Right? You have a doji, okay? So that's what this chart looks like over here. That's what forms here when you're chopping. Now, again, I care about the measure of the moves here. We do have, obviously, from a 4-hour perspective here, like I mentioned, we are starting to tick up here. These are all the things that I'm wanting to see here, especially after an earnings speed from Nvidia. So, right, let's see here. So took us about less than an hour here to kind of take out that move. And how large was that move about? So let's see here. Where do we close at? We close at 711 here. So 711 is down here. And so 6 points, so $6. How long did it take us to come down here? 717. And it took us about to come back down here to 707. I'll just call it 707. Screw it. Okay, so this is a very strong candle here, and a good way to figure out like how fast the move is, like how many days did it take you to go down X amount of points here. Everything we do here in the channel, obviously it's not financial advice here. We're trying to give you the best clues and strategies here to kind of think how Wall Street thinks, but also to think how a technical trader and a successful trader thinks. These are all the tools that successful traders use, okay? So we want to make sure, right, if we just had an extreme move here, right, how fast was it, how vicious was it, and you know, what can we do with this, right? Did we actually miss the move, or is there still a chance to make money? And again, the short answer is yes. So your levels that you want to watch tomorrow are 711.37 here. So visually looking at the chart here, I'm just going to go ahead and mark that here. You do have magnet zones here, so it's 715 here. And again, you can just kind of see here on the chart, you don't have to mark it. Where's your previous day high? 714, right? Just mark it. When you look at the chart right here, you can see to your left here, this is a very active and liquid zone here, okay? You go up, you go down. Everyone's going to say, of course, right? But that's the point. We want to get into a zone that's going to go up or down, not one that's going to chop here. So it took us about 12 days to go up how much? About from 716. about $17 and took us about like 12 days to kind of get there here, right? So that took a long time here. If this is a strong breakout, if the market's going to react positively, I know that one sector and one sector only is going to do it here, right? And we talked about, how in our previous videos, we need a leader, right? When software and, software can't be the leader, right? They don't make up a large percent of the index, right? What does? Memory, semiconductors, and so forth. The layer 1, layer 2, layer 3 trades that we always talk about here on the channel. So if I know that, right, and you know that, right, the NASDAQ is already up 0.80% here, say tomorrow, right, we're going to have like, a crazy day. We're going to go up, maybe we're going to go down here. We obviously do have Jackson Hole, which we do have to address here as well later in the video. What can I do, right? What's going to move the market? What did we just say? That's going to lead to our next topic here. So kind of looking at Nvidia here again, right? What companies are actually affected by Nvidia and why? So these are just a few companies, something that I put together here, right? They're sold out here. They purported, right, that they could not build fast enough. That's kind of weird. And kind of in my opinion, right, the show's not over. They got $108 billion for the next quarter. And conveniently yesterday, Amazon just ironically ordered 2 million more chips and they're sold out. So when are they going to get them? Weird. Okay. Tinfoil hat right there, guys. And essentially, what is this telling us? The money's still coming in. Nvidia just can't take any more of it. That's a crazy concept, guys. So right now, it's going to whoever's standing next in line to them. How can you play with this trade here, right? So if you know that the NASDAQ, right, moves slow and we don't want to do 0-day trades, what's actually going to move the NASDAQ and why? Understanding the why is the macro, the what, the why, okay? So we know macroly speaking, what stocks are going to move and why, and what would actually move the index and why. And then we have the fundamental use case. What's the fundamental use case right now? These stocks here. It's not just all of them, right? There's quite a few more. So we have Micron, we have SanDisk, we have Western Digital, right? These are the lumbar, right? Think about that as memory. There's more, obviously. We have the chip makers, CSM, AMKR. We have electricity, VRT, ETN, CEG. Then we obviously have the leaders here as well, APO, Blackstone, KKR, okay? So there's a lot of different stocks that you can get involved in here, but you have to understand the fundamentals and the macros behind them. Macroly speaking here, right, we have a memory shortage, which is driving up the price of what? Chips, which is going to affect who? The people who buy the chips. Okay. Going here to the software sector, nothing really notable here. We aren't trending down, but we aren't trending up here. We have a doji here, and we have our levels marked out here as well. So again, right, if you can't break your previous day high here, right, and obviously this is an ETF, there's individual stocks underlying under this ETF here. I'm looking to go short here. One of my favorite trades this year was, right, going long the stocks, right, and then shorting what? IGV. So, right, is this going to open up another opportunity for us to get into a good short here? Maybe it's CRM still. Maybe it's MSFT, Microsoft. Okay, those are the clues that we have to pay attention to. Going over here to CRM, why did they beat here? They basically got it up bigger on everything. They had blowout earnings. And really, in my opinion, you've gone nowhere, right? They were at the same price here in January. So if we just go over here to the chart here, you're again, ironically, at a really key pivotal point here. Overnight, you're at 232 here. Look at this zone right here, okay? So you have a massive inverse head and shoulders. Here's your left, here's your head, here's your right, and then obviously you have your kind of micro inverses here as well. But again, looking at the chart here, have this level marked, okay? 235 right here. What do you do at this level? Are we going to peekaboo and then sell off here? Or are we actually going to create some structure and rip up above, right, based on their earnings? Regarding their earnings here, they beat, let's see here, let me go back to Nvidia to kind of read these look kind of janky here. For revenue, they beat 5.0, X on Anthropic Mark 3.39. They beat here on their CRPO here, 33 billion versus expected. Free cash flow increased here. Their forward 2027 revenue guidance grew as well, plus 200 million here. And then they closed here at 205, and then they're up here to 232 here. Again, this is more of a subjective trade here. I just don't believe in CRM here. It's just a saturated space. They're not doing anything that I would think is a growth company. To me, growth is like Nvidia is changing the world. They're going to get data centers and all these other things here that are going to help stocks. What is CRM doing? It's just working with large enterprise clients here, gathering data for their customers and clients to help with acquisitions, more sales and leads and so forth here. One is actually a really good use case here. This can be replaced actually by the company they invested in, which is Anthropic, which I thought, IGV and the entire software sector was dead. So kind of going back to Nvidia and kind of going back to the tinfoil hat here, don't want to get too far off topic when I get and finish this video. I think it's very important to understand we have to make a decision on what we're going to believe. Are we going to believe that they're really sold on a memory? Because the problem with Nvidia is, right, they didn't even factor in their China sales. There was no part of it, no forward guidance, no nothing, right? They obviously didn't make any money from them. So, what happens if, right, we do open up a deal with China? What if we resolve our tariffs here? I think that's a possibility and an angle that nobody's really thinking about, or at least talking about here. But I'm gonna stick my neck out on a limb. I think magically, right, as soon as you do maybe possibly get a deal with China, which I do think you're going to get eventually, what's going to happen to these stocks? They're going to go up here, but why? Because the algo is just going to buy it up on a news event here. So that's why you have to be very careful here. People don't realize, right, do we have chips or not? Because if you have chips, it's not a problem. If you don't, how are you going to get the money to everybody else here? You're literally sold out here. It's just the next person in line, and they can't produce what's being asked of them. Coming over here to the stocks, it looks like we broke our 55 daily EMA here. So again, my next target up here, and the first things first, is we need to be above this level right here at 519.98 here. Again, really liquid zone here, really good zone to get involved here. One of the concepts that we talk about here on the channel as well is, are we going to undercut, which looks like this. Undercut, we did, retest, break down. Now we're back up here to 525. Are we going to retest and break out, or are we going to break down, right, and create another bearish channel here and a lowercase h, like this? Okay, so a big level here that we want to watch here. And again, the easiest thing you can do here so you don't miss trades is one, make sure to follow, like, share, and come to my Discord. We have traded signals here. I really enjoy teaching people. I don't like providing copy trades. We do it, but I really want people to learn a skill set for life. That way you don't have to depend on me, and then you can just pass it to everybody else, okay, from what you learn. So the level, right, that you can do here, right, so what I just did here on TradingView was add an alert. Okay, that's a level I'm going to get involved in here, right? Really liquid zone here. And again, you can draw your fibs from the top to the bottom here, but I don't need to. I know where we're headed towards, and this is the key level I want to watch here. Going here to a smaller time frame, because we don't want to just take one time frame, guys, right? You can just see it here visually here again. 519, 520, just call it what it is. And you just see your structure here. You don't have quite a clear double bottom here. And again, sometimes, right, there's different pictures you can look at this. Can you create a bearish channel, create embers and shoulders? Absolutely. But right now, what is the market showing you? Nvidia had good earnings. And all we're doing is staircasing up here. We had a Morningstar reversal right here. And here's another Morningstar reversal right here. These are candles you don't want to short here, guys. So again, right, we had a Morningstar reversal here. We had an uppercase H here. So when I said lowercase h here, this is the same thing, just smaller, of course. And what I'm looking for is an actual strong breakthrough. Maybe we get it after the Jackson Hole meeting, maybe we don't. Maybe we just create an evening star right here and just double top. But these are all the clues you have to pay attention to, right? Your put wall here clearly on the stocks here is at 509. And then again, your call wall is right above here, above this bar at 561 here. You have a control bar, which is doing what? Controlling price. And it's categorized typically by inside bar and a higher low here, where you coil, right? Waiting for that macro event, waiting for that headline, and then you gap up or obviously crash down. You really do get very big extreme moves here. And you can see there's a lot of liquidity being built up here as well. Liquidity is buyers and sellers here. Everyone's stacked up here. They're wedged. You're going nowhere. Coming over here to the NDFI, the NDFI measures the 100 stocks here on the NASDAQ that are above their 50 daily moving average here. So they tend to mark tops and bottoms. It's not a magic 8-ball, but it's how I like to kind of view the market here. Are the stocks on the NASDAQ trending up or down here? Well, taking a look here in the aftermarket, I don't think it's going to tell me. Nope, it's not going to tell me. We're trending down. Maybe with this Nvidia import, we're going to trend up here. And again, what I'm looking for is to create structure on the chart. But again, we don't really care about structure when it comes to the NDFI. What we care about is, are we trickling up, and who's we? The 100 stocks in the NASDAQ that it's measuring here. So very nice clutch tool here. Again, tends to mark tops, tends to mark bottoms, right? But again, right, what can you do here? From the perspective of, looking at the chart here. Set an alert, drop below 50, stand aside. Above 50, maybe get involved. But again, you have to combine the macro, the fundamental, and the technical. And that's not enough. You have to figure out what stock to get into and why. So kind of giving you a quick example here, right? A long that I'm candidly looking at here. We did take longs here, or at least I took longs here towards close here for Micron. I took 1,150 calls for, I believe, September 18th here for, I don't even know the price. I'm going to have to check, my brain's cooked. But again, a very speculative trade here, right? And playing off here of Nvidia. Again, if this memory trade is going to last, it's derived off of what? Nvidia. So even if these contracts got smoked here, right? I still have a lot of time. You don't get that bad of an IV crush, right? You just get the implied move to the downside, which is obviously going to affect, the contract's price. So I'm targeting these highs up here, right? Are we going to do what Amazon does and everyone else's company does? Undercut, retest, breakout, or breakdown. That's it, guys. We don't have to overcomplicate the trading. And where's a really good level to get involved with right here? Why did I go long? Let's go ahead and clean up the chart. Look here. Here's your put wall. Here's your call wall, 9:45, and where you're at in after hours. Okay, so you close at 9:38. We want to claim this as support, as our base, and then we can look for extensions to the upside here. But this was purely speculative to play off of the Nvidia earnings here, which hopefully obviously we hold up overnight here. But again, the hardest part I tell people is you just got to press buy, and so you have to work with the position. A lot of people, including myself in the past, a long time ago, right, once upon a time, we're just looking, it's like, oh crap, I should have got it, I knew it. But it's like sometimes we're being greedy with how much we want to pay for the contracts, and sometimes we're just being greedy with what level we want to get involved with. But I think sometimes the easiest part, but also the way that you learn, is by failing. And failing means that you have to start. Starting means that I'm not saying just buy random position here, for buying and selling, right? And obviously it's not financial advice, but what I am saying here is just be careful of where you enter in. Are you entering into a war zone? Is it a high probability setup? Are you using all these free tools here in TradingView to understand how large and how big you can go up to your next level or not? Again, going over here to the a different time frame here, as long as we're above our previous day high here, which is 9:46, and as long as we stay above our previous close here, which is 9:38 here, I'm looking for longs for a setup here to mark onto the upside, breaking 1,000 by the end of the week. Western Digital, kind of same deal here. And again, notice how these charts all look the same here, guys. So like when we're going back over here, there's multiple trades that you guys can take, not only from playing the sectors here, but also playing the earnings, right, that we had off of Nvidia here. And again, we have a big meeting tomorrow. I can't predict what's going to happen here. Maybe it's a nothing burger, maybe nothing happens. If nothing happens or really something happens, it's not up to us, right, to decide what the market's going to do with it. We're going to find out, and that's why we have to adjust in real time, which also means it's okay to just sit in your hands. You don't have to trade, okay? So there's a lot of different setups here. A contract like this, right, if you actually had your implied move, right, they usually cost about 300, 400 bucks here. I'd rather spend money on the stocks that are actually moving the market than doing the 0-day trading, when you're chopping here and getting no money here. I can make 10x here and get a better return on my investment than I can on QQQ, and that's what I've experienced this year time and time again. Coming over here to the SPY, again, we have our clear call wall here. Again, we are above our point of control right here. And again, very liquid zone here. So we did an undercut. Undercut looks like this. Undercut, retest, breakdown. Undercut here, retest, breakdown. And now we're finally gapping up here. And if you were to go to a smaller micro time frame, which I think have some more charts pulled up here, right, what are you possibly forming now? A Morningstar reversal. You have a Dragonfly Doji here, and now you're going to have, if you were to go to the after hours, which I'll show you in a bit, a bullish engulfing candle. So for me, obviously, if you break down here, 764 here, I'm out. Until then, I'm going to go long here on the SPY. It's that simple, okay? And again, that doesn't mean grabbing 0-day, right, because those can expire worthless if you chop here. I'm looking from a longer term perspective here, using the daily time frame, okay? Again, looking here at SPY from a different time frame here, you can just see, again, mark your highs. One thing that I would want to definitely do is break the high of the night here, which is at 770 here. So again, in order for me to kind of be considering going long here tomorrow, if I'm not already long, which I am, right, what do we need to do here? We need to break our highs of the night. I want to see it with conviction here. Left, head, and maybe this is your bull flag for your right shoulder here. Doesn't have to be perfect. All patterns look different. Come up here, maybe we tap 775 tomorrow. That would be a blessing in disguise. And maybe you have a ridiculous rip-up day here, depending on how the market digests things. We still have London, which opens up at 2 o'clock Central Time, where I live at, to determine what's going to happen pre-market. Again, guys, we can just sell off here. Maybe this is a larger bear flag here. Maybe we're going to have a different cup close. Maybe we're going to come all the way back down here and create a bearish channel here. But at the moment here, you have a cup here. What's a cup look like? Looks like this. So you have a cup and a rounded bottom here, okay? The levels to the upside for SPY tomorrow are let's see here, we're at 769 here. My next level to the upside here is 779 here. Again, using the concept of fibs, here's your high. Would you literally stop going down at yet? 770 here. I would definitely want to remain above 770 here. Levels to the upside are 772, 775, 779 for the full pressure extension. And again, that's all contingent upon doing what? We need to hold this previous day high up here at 766 here, okay? And I want to see bullish momentum and pick up here based on the news due to Nvidia earnings after market. But again, we do have that big catalyst here tomorrow after market, guys. During the market, rather. Another stock here that I'm looking at to go long on that's already up here in the after hours is NBIS, NBIS here, ticker. And again, a really ugly looking chart. It's very hard to trade these stocks, guys, and they're very volatile here. But I'm going to go to a different time frame to kind of show you guys. I'm going to go through a few different charts here. These are all my watch list charts that I'm looking at here. I have Nibius. Here's a different time frame here. Look at these candles here again, Morningstar, uppercase H here, just like we talked about with some of these other stocks here. Guys, it's the same exact chart time and time again. Which one's going to pay the most? That's what I'm trying to help you guys identify, okay? And again, very liquid zone here. 226, I'm going to hold above that. If we can hold above that, I'm looking for calls. It's that simple. Extensions, 233, 242, and then full price target would be 252 here, possibly before the end of the week here, okay? AMAT materials here, same deal, guys. Again, it looks like you're having a falling wedge right here, so you might have a falling wedge. Actually, you are, so that you might. You did lose your 55 daily moving average here. So again, net selling looks like this. Net buying above the 55 looks like this. And again, the 55 ironically kind of lines with that 50% line right here. So again, what am I looking for right here? I want to remain above this level here in order for me to kind of want to go long here. But again, where can you target if you're going to go long here? The resistance, right? Like a triple bottom here. You triple, 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 bounce up, triple top, triple top, triple top, triple top, bounce up. Actually, right, they haven't been doing that. What they've been doing here is, right, they eventually crack you down. The more times you test the level here, the more likely you are to break it, right? So come back up here, maybe you chop, maybe chop, maybe chop, maybe chop. Maybe you come all the way back down here and get kiboshed. But what I'm looking for is calls to the upside for AMAT, targeting 560 here from a 14 to 21 day perspective. TSM, guys, same chart here. Not quite the same, but you know, I think you're kind of understanding here what I'm saying here. You have a bearish channel here, you're breaking out, you had an indecision candle here, and after hours you haven't really moved much, and candidly there's quite a few tickers that haven't moved much after hours due to earnings, but again, those are things that we have to pay attention to heading into tomorrow with Jackson Hole. Right, that's it, guys. If you have any questions, concerns, I'll go ahead and post this on Nvidia. A chart here, don't want to take up too much of your time here, but these are the things I try to put here together every single day to give you guys a chance to be profitable and make money. Remember, nothing that I say is financial advice. Stay blessed, be a good person, pay for it. Hollow Point out.